Welcome to episode number 153 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. I am David Erickson, your co-host. I am with my co-host, BL Achman. You can find BL at What's Next. You can find me on Twitter at DErickson. Our topics for today, we're recording live on YouTube on August 14, 2016. Our topics for this week are Facebook Live ads, the perpetually recurring political donations, Twitter's shutting down rumor, sexist Gap ads, the Internet of Things hates pets, Google AMP coming to everyone, LinkedIn video, Netflix VR. We'll have some cool tools and stats to wrap it up, and we always kick it off with the worst story of the week, and BL has the honor. What's the worst story of the week, BL?
Well, there was a rumor that started this week, and this came from a post from an article in Reuters. I saw it on Twitter, but then I went to get the information from Angela Moon on Reuters. And what happened was that social media started buzzing with the hashtag Save Twitter on Thursday. And by Thursday afternoon, there were more than 100,000 tweets mentioning that Twitter was going to close down. And so Reuters went to Twitter, and a spokesperson said there's absolutely no truth to the claims. Nobody's really 100% sure how the rumor started, but it seemed to originate from a Twitter user who complained about online bullying and Twitter's poor handling of the abuses, but it went into something that became really very funny. And one of my favorite tweets was from Amy Plyer, who said, "I use Twitter more than a toilet. Don't shut it down. Hashtag save Twitter." And then there was the BuzzFeed reporter, Alan White, who has 11.7 thousand followers. He figured it all out. And his Twitter bio says, "I work for BuzzFeed and my blogs are powerful." But Twitter had a post that said, "Hope everyone likes pancakes," with a picture of pancakes. I don't really know why they had that. And he drew circles around the H, the E, the L, and the P, and he said, "Whoa, Twitter's asking for help. Save Twitter."
Yeah.
But the cool part was Twitter's stock rose like 6% that same day.
I don't know how many times people have asked me, so is Twitter going away?
Right.
Like, what makes it's because they get bad press, and always they don't compare well to Facebook, and they need to compete with, they don't need to compete with Facebook, by the way.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, now Twitter's not going away. There's no need to save Twitter. Twitter is ripe for being bought, but they're not going away.
Yeah, it's very funny. But I mean, some of the things people said were hilarious.
So
another one was, "Oh my God, you mean I have to actually talk to people now?"
This is an interesting story from Slate. Jeremy Stahl has a report on the Trump campaign's e-commerce functionality, or lack thereof, I should say. CNN reporter Jeremy Diamond sent out a tweet that noted that that a supporter of Trump had emailed him saying that he couldn't cancel his recurring contribution on Trump's official campaign website. The website Mike confirmed that there's no button to undo your recurring payment on the Trump campaign. You can't delete your recurring payment. You can't delete your credit card information. You can update it, but there's like, if you have a different card number or valid card number, you just apparently keep on paying the Trump campaign till the end of time. The Federal Election Commission spokeswoman Christian Hilland told Mike that there's nothing illegal about this per se until the person I guess not, until the person's automatic payments put them over the maximum contribution of $2,700. The Clinton campaigns does have a remove card option on its site for recurring payments, but this is kind of like the spam email you get with no unsubscribe option, right? I mean, how does that? I mean, clearly, if you can update your credit card number, there's a function within the code that you ought to be able to cancel it, right?
Wow.
And so bad.
But that sounds like him. That really does sound like him.
Kind of Trump University kind of stuff. So.
Have you watched any of the Spam-A-Lot videos, by the way?
No.
Oh, they are hilarious. This is Alan. What's his first name? His last name is Veach, and he actually interacts with the spammers. They're hilarious. I will put them in an upcoming show, and I'll send you a link. It's too funny. Well, certainly nowhere near as great political import, but The Gap came under some criticism for a sexist ad, and this one really made me angry. And this came from a Mashable story by Rachel Thompson, and in the UK, The Gap emailed a feature of a boy in a t-shirt with an image of Albert Einstein, and his image was captioned "The Little Scholar," and right below the little scholar was an image of a girl's t-shirt captioned "The Social Butterfly." And if that wasn't bad enough, the problem with the little scholar t-shirt, they misspelled Einstein's name.
Yeah, okay.
And of course they apologize, yeah, we didn't mean to offend anybody, blah, 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 because we weren't watching because we don't pay attention.
Well,
the usual.
Yeah. It looks like there may be a lot more opportunities for advertisers to screw up in the near future, because Facebook is contemplating putting commercial breaks for Facebook Live video in their streams. This is from a Mashable story by Patrick Culp. So Facebook's testing a new ad format in which sponsored videos can be inserted into Facebook Live streams. They're essentially 15-second commercial breaks. The advertising breaks can be inserted anywhere in a given stream after the 5-minute mark and last no more than 15 seconds. This is according to Ad Age. So what's old is new again. Facebook wants to be TV, and what is TV but interruption advertising, right? So I'm like, yeah, that's the last. This is what I want, like Netflix for. I don't have television commercials interrupting my experience.
But then there's the issue of what about when it's a shooting, or what about when it's, Diamond Reynolds? So what are you going to put an ad in there with? And they did say that you have the option under those circumstances to, I don't know what, but change the ad. I don't know. It's a really crazy idea. And that's going to, there are going to be problems with that. There's no two ways about that.
Sure. But I mean, their ambitions clearly are to replace television. So I suppose it makes a lot of sense from a business standpoint. And well, we'll see how it works.
Yeah, but Dave, they also want to replace Amazon, Twitter, Google. There's nothing they don't want to replace.
They've got big ambitions, and for that they need big revenue.
Well, and they got big revenue. But I was tickled by this story because I don't own this product, but the Internet of Things is coming to all of our homes, and apparently the Internet of Things hates pets because there was a little glitch. This is from a story on where did I get this? The Internet of Things Daily, and the reporter was Chuck Martin. And there's a $149 PetNet smart feeder, and it's an Internet of Things device. You pre-program it to dispense food to your pets at certain times of day, and unfortunately the system failed, and all the pets were hungry for like 10 hours. And so this created like quite a social media and online storm, and it was reported everywhere. And there's a lesson here. There's a takeaway. You need to have redundant servers as backups. But the story, there were all these dramatic headlines. No treat for you. Pets miss meals after auto-feeding app PetNet glitches. Cats, dogs starve as web-connected shows shoot. PetNet plays dead. Internet-connected pet feeder goes offline. Pets probably very hungry. That one's from Gizmodo. And on and on. I mean, BBC did it. It was all over the world, So several days later, PetNet issued an apology, a bit late in my opinion. And, basically, when the Internet of Things works well, nobody kind of notices. But when it doesn't, it's tough.
So the pets went 10 hours without being fed?
Yeah, 10 hours without food. I mean, nobody starved to death, but I mean, it could have been longer, it could have been, you could have been away for the weekend. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be a little dangerous for your pet, but not nearly as dangerous as having a bear in your house, which is one of the, videos that went viral recently. And this is from a Mashable article by Brian Korber. So Rodney Ginn of Mammoth Lakes, California, discovered a bear in his home. The bear charged him. He caught the footage of the bear charging him on his smartphone. He shared a photo also that showed that the bear was a mama bear and had 2 cubs in the house, which explains why it would charge, right? But the video is just amazing. It's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! You see the bear charging him before he closes the door, and then and then the bear apparently just let itself out by opening the sliding glass door.
Get out, really?
So, oh my god.
A bear can do that?
I didn't know that. It's good to know. Maybe I should lock the sliding glass door.
Really? Oh, wow. Well, that's crazy. Well, I had a long time ago when the internet first started, I had a client in the Midwest who made candy, and she would have to put her big garbage thing, the bin, out like a mile away from her house because bears would come out of the woods and they would lift up this humongous garbage bin like it was a football and walk away with it and put back in the forest. You know, they were like so used to it, it was nothing.
Yeah, well, we used to go camping as when I was a kid, and that was the one you needed to wash your pots and pans very thoroughly, and
no makeup in the tent,
food outside in
yeah,
a tree, so it's not near your tent and all that. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
I know a lot about that one. Well, I used to go camping too, but not something I do anymore. Anyway, that brings us to better news now.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so back to Facebook. They did something that I think is very cool, if a little bit scary. They opened this giant hardware lab, and Mark Zuckerberg says it's to build their future. And, you know, they can't just focus on social services. And so now they feel like they have to have products, tech products. And so this is Area 404, and it's going to focus on Oculus VR headsets, internet drones, open source networking gear, and they're building everything from headsets to solar-powered planes. They've always had labs for their teams, but now they'll have engineers who can make faster progress toward, as Zuckerberg put it, connecting the world. It's the size of half a football field, and everything's got everything in it. Includes a 5-axis water jet that can cut through steel and granite to a 9-axis mill-turn lathe. And they've got an electron microscope and a CT scanner that'll let them examine components for future analysis. And it's so heavy that they had to remove the floor of the building and drill down to bedrock to put in the new foundation. Holy camole.
Well, it's a curious name for it, Area 404. It's sort of evocative of Roswell on the one hand, but then 404 error pages too.
I know, it's very odd. It's very odd. What have you got, Dave?
So there's an experiment that Google has. Well, it's not really an experiment. The project that Google has been slowly rolling out is finally rolling out for everyone. Google AMP pages. AMP stands for Accelerated Mobile Pages. This is from a Neiman Labs article by Sean Wang. And so Google's planning to show AMP links everywhere in its mobile search results. So wherever there's a AMP-enabled page, a mobile accelerated page, Google will display it in the results with its accompanying lightning bolt in the mobile results. Google says the boost doesn't come with any changes to search ranking, and there are no plans to add specific AMP signal to the Google search algorithm, but
they're lying.
Page load speed and mobile-friendly design already are ranking factors. So the fact that they're rolling this out to more content basically means there's going to be it's going to be highly beneficial for you to have AMP pages enabled for your mobile search. They have a device, a mobile, a website you can test your results on, which we'll include in the show notes. But everybody should be aware of that.
Yeah, that's a lot of updating that has to happen on my side. So Facebook again added new publisher tools for 360 video this past week. This is from a Facebook post by Paul Bedeau Stevens, and since they started rolling out 360 videos last September, there have been more than 250,000 of them uploaded. So this week they introduced Guide and Heat Map. And Guide's a new way to give viewers a guided tour of the video as it plays, so that it'll just go to places that you've marked for the guide. And then Heat Map is an interesting thing. It's a visual insights tool that lets you see which portions of the 360 video's field of view your audience is spending the most time watching. And so Guide lets you set the narrative by highlighting specific points of interest. And if you decide to use it, people who view your video will automatically be directed around the video as it plays. So if there's a diver plunging into the water or a shark swimming up behind them, you could point that out to people. And they're two really interesting tools. And the information is, you know, for those who learn to use it, it will help you to learn how to make your future points of interest in videos. It's a very interesting kind of a way of learning.
That's very cool. The heat map analytics in particular are interesting. YouTube has have an audience retention metric. If you look at your analytics for your videos, where you can tell where the points of interest are during the timeline of a video that you've uploaded. But this is when we're getting into the 360 and virtual reality realm, knowing where people are looking in the 360 environment is very important to know that. So it's interesting that they're adding that on. Speaking of 360 video, Netflix has a very fascinating piece of video that they've put out to promote their Stranger Things original series. This is from a TechCrunch article by Daryl Etherington, and Netflix original show, Stranger Things. It's a supernatural thriller starring Winona Ryder. It's set in 1983 suburban Indiana town. It has a heavy debt to Stephen King's Firestarter story. The font that they use, actually, the font that they use for the show Stranger Things is the exact same font that you'll see on Stephen King novels, too. So they're borrowing heavily, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. The girl in the story has a telekinesis, just like in Stephen King's Firestarter. So anyway, they've released a VR, actually, it's a 360 video trailer for this TV series that uses amazing storytelling techniques. So it can be viewed using Google Cardboard or Gear VR. You're inside a home and you hear something disturbed in the kitchen, so you walk towards that disturbance where you see an overhead light swinging from the ceiling. You get to the kitchen. As you walk over to the kitchen, you hear a phone ring down the hall, so you turn and walk down the hall to the telephone. There's a telephone at the end of the hall. You go walk down there, you answer the phone. It's Winona Ryder's voice on the other end. Her character's warning you that he's inside the house, and it's completely immersive feel. Will be familiar to anybody who plays video console games that have like a storytelling bent. Fallout series is one of those. But you turn around, and I'm not going to give the rest of it, but you watch the clip. We'll put that in the show notes as well. But it gives you a real taste of how really effective virtual reality storytelling can be done when it's done right. So Netflix, again, doing a really good job of their own marketing.
Netflix is great at their own marketing. So I saw an ad that I think may be the world's best ad, and the headline of the ad is Coleman Sweeney is the world's biggest asshole. And Coleman Sweeney is a guy who's rude to everybody and their dog. He breaks all protocol. He, an old lady is crossing the street and he's honking the horn at her. She's walking with her walker, and he bumps into people, and they, are looking, and he just, screw you. And he's just a horrible, horrible person. Everybody hates him. And then he dies. And glad he, and then they tell you 120,000 people are waiting for an organ every day. 22 people die waiting. And if Coleman Sweeney can be a hero, what's your excuse? And it's from an organ transplant. organization, and it was sent to me by a dear friend who has had a lung transplant and who's now 5 years past that.
Wow, very cool.
It's the coolest ad. And he really is an asshole, this guy, Coleman Sweeney.
Speaking of assholes, some people think that clickbait headlines are done by assholes, but
I'm loving your transitions today.
Facebook appears to be one of them. They've got a blog post where they've announced that they are going to be cracking down on clickbait by filtering it. So headlines that intentionally leave out crucial information or mislead people, forcing the viewer to click to find out the answers. So they give some examples of the type of headlines they'll be cutting down on. When she looked under her couch cushions and saw this, I was shocked. So that's a clickbait headline. Another one: he put garlic in his shoes before going to bed, and what happens next is hard to believe. Or the dog barked at the delivery man and his reaction was priceless. So those are, obviously clickbait headline. Facebook is making an update to their newsfeed to reduce the ranking of clickbait headlines in the coming weeks. They previously made an update to the newsfeed that reduces the distribution of posts that lead to people to click, but then quickly come back. So it's a signal that content wasn't very good for that person. Facebook is using the system that identifies phrases that are commonly used in clickbait headlines. First, they categorize tens of thousands of headlines as clickbait according to 2 key points. One, if the headline withholds information required to understand what the content of the article is, and 2, if the headline exaggerates the article to create misleading expectations for the readers. Examples: you'll never believe who tripped and fell on the red carpet, withholds information required to understand the article, what happened, who tripped, etc. Another headline: apples are actually bad for you, ? Exclamation point, misleads the reader. Apples aren't only bad for you if you eat them every day, if you eat too many every day. But you know what? That's the same type of thing that local news does for the television stories, right?
Yeah,
every night.
They totally do.
Yeah, so their system identifies posts that are clickbait and which web domains and pages that these posts come from. So it'll not just affect your headlines of the individual stories, but it could affect your domain name if you're linking to those, which you probably are if you're using clickbait. So the news feed will continue to learn over time, and if a page stops posting clickbait headline, their post could actually get visibility after they've stopped doing that horrible behavior.
I wonder if they'll include the ones where, you click on the headline and then you go to, these 10 people did this, and then they expect you to go through a slideshow, and as you do, you see all these ads for stupid things like, wrinkle removers and stuff like that. I mean, I wonder if they consider that clickbait too. I hope they do.
Don't think so. As long as the headline is reflective of what's on the other end of the link, that's probably not.
So the FTC is cracking down on influencers' paid posts, and this is from a story by David Kirkpatrick at Dive Marketing, and basically they're saying that it's not enough. The Federal Trade Commission is going to become more stringent in enforcing its sponsored advertising guidelines, and but they put the onus on the disclosure on the advertisers rather than the social media stars who are doing the actual postings. And marketers are being warned that hashtags like hashtag ad, hashtag SP, or even hashtag sponsored might not qualify as adequate disclosure for a paid post. When I run sponsored posts, I run above and below them sponsored post, so that it's very clear that it's an ad. And problems. Okay, so Dave's got more stories, and as soon as he gets back, he'll tell them to you.
I'm back.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, LinkedIn has gotten on the video train. So this is from a Next Web story by Abanu Ghoshal. LinkedIn has finally boarded the video train. They have introduced the short videos to the feed. from influencers that you follow. So this is just rolling out for influencers right now. The company's tapped 500 popular figures on the site to record 30-second video clips of themselves answering questions posed by other users, although I think that the questions initially are ones that LinkedIn has come up with for the influencers to answer. And this is via an invite-only iPhone app that they've developed for this LinkedIn Q&A format. Some of the influencers are author Guy Kawasaki, who answered the question, what's the one thing founders should avoid doing in a pitch meeting? LinkedIn chair Reid Hoffman obviously was an influencer. He answered, the first thing in your office, artificial intelligence will take over. Product manager Jasper Sherman Presser said that LinkedIn will eventually open up for video creation to most users at some point in the future. So LinkedIn finally getting into the video game. The other piece of information that came across this week was Microsoft, which bought LinkedIn, buying a live streaming video service. This is from the Next Web, an article by Napier Lopez. So Microsoft is buying Beam, which competes with YouTube and Twitch for live streaming video gameplay. The Team Xbox made the announcement in a blog post, so it's significant that the announcement is coming from the Xbox team and Microsoft. They're obviously going to use it to integrate it into their Xbox platform. The Beam technology allows for super low latency video, which is obviously important for live streaming video games, which are heavily graphic intensive, but also allows for better back and forth with the broadcasters. So if the technology is good enough for video games, it's definitely good enough for LinkedIn. Think of this Q&A video format that they've just introduced. They've also got lynda.com training videos. They have the LinkedIn Amplify program where they try and get enterprise users to get their employees to share. Obviously, video could be applied to that. It also could be a video conferencing platform if they want to get people to spend more time on LinkedIn. So I'd expect eventual integration with LinkedIn and also Skype. So it could be something
Microsoft
that would
owns
be,
Skype, yeah.
because Microsoft owns Skype, yeah. So very interesting developments there.
Well, right now, when LinkedIn starts things, they're a little bit ham-handed about it. You know, it takes them a while to get things straight, but clearly they have more video conferencing in their future. Yeah. So does that bring us to shiny objects?
It does indeed.
Well, this is not new, but this is, you know, just an important thing for people to know, and that is, if you don't already know it, the Internet Archive Wayback Machine that, you know, proves that everything that goes online does indeed stay online, and you can go there and you can research just about any topic, and it will take you to all of the mentions of it back to, I think, 2008 at this point, or it used to go to 1968, but it doesn't go back that far anymore. But it's a remarkable, remarkable research tool, and, you know, also reputation management tool.
Yeah, I use it all the time. I was actually using it today researching the beginnings of the Excite search engine. So it goes further back than that. It goes back to 1993 is the one that I was looking at. So it'll take a snapshot of websites to so you can see what they looked like back in the day. Sometimes I remind myself what a horrible designer I was by going back to sites I designed way, way, way back when, and look at how awful they looked. So yeah,
it's a really
a glutton for punishment tool as well.
Yeah, it's free also. Yeah, yep. I know. You could go back and see like the way that you were clunky at the beginning. So what have you got, Dave?
VERN, the Himalayas. This is from a Next Web article by Napier Lopez, again, one of our favorite writers. So if you're tired of Pokemon Go, Google Maps has released VERN, the Himalayas. It's a mobile game where you can hike around Mount Everest and learn about the Himalayas. It features a 500-foot tall Yeti named VERN who explores the Himalayas. It's an educational app. Players learn fun facts about the region as they hike and fly around. You chase around in Argali, which is an animal that looks a lot like a ram. Your best friend is a yak. It uses Google Maps 3D imagery and runs on top of the Unity game engine. It's only available on Android at this point, but it looks like a lot of fun and cool use of Google's map imagery.
That looks like fun indeed, but I can't use it because I'm an Apple girl. So I came across something this week that I am trying. It's called the PhotoCritic School, and it is an online School of Photography, a free course, and the goal of the founders is to teach photography to 100,000 people in 2016. It's founded by, I hope I can pronounce this correctly, Hajan Kamps and Daniela Boker. And basically there are 17 lessons and they're sent to you and then critiqued by email. And it's got lessons explaining technical terms and showing people how to turn a Pringles can into a camera obscura or macro lens. It has camera reviews, and it shows you how to set up an online photo school. It shows you just about anything you can think of about using photography online. And there's a lesson every other week, so that really does give you time to do the assignments. It looks really cool. I haven't got that this week. I hear you.
Yeah, you keep breaking out. SenderScore is a tool that will when you send email. So if you've got an email newsletter or something, you might be noticing that you're not getting as many opens as possible, and it might be because you'll want to check your email address and see what your reputation is for that email address. Your email address can be shaped from how people interact. If they click the spam button when they get email from you, if they just don't open your email, if they ignore your email and delete it right away. There's a bunch of different factors that go into creating a reputation score for your email address. But if your emails aren't getting through, if you've got a delivery problem, it might be because you've got your email address's poor reputation. So there is a tool that you can use called SenderScore.org that you can check and see basically what the reputation of your domain name is to see if that might be your problem. So there's
Is that a free or a paid?
It's free tool. Yep, it's free tool, and
cool.
I think there is a for-fee version of it, but yeah, it's free.
And talking about finding things that might not be working well, there's a WordPress Broken Link Checker, and it's a plugin that will check your posts and your comments and other content for broken links and missing images and let you know if any are found. And for those of us who've been blogging since 1999, that could be a lot of links. That could be a lot of broken all sorts of things. So that's a tool that would be very well worth using if you blog or if you have been blogging for a long time in particular.
Yeah, exactly. So daily numbers. This is types of online harassment. That's an issue that has been a topic of discussion over the course of the past year for us quite a bit, actually. So this is from a nationally representative online poll conducted by Rad Campaign Craig Connects from Craigslist and Lincoln Strategies. It's the second in a biannual series. Nearly a third of all internet using adults self-report that they've been harassed online for expressing political opinions. That abuse is highest among Democrats, the highly political, and those ages 55 to 64. It's also nearly double the rate of political harassment that users reported 2 years ago. But among the types of harassment people are experiencing online, 30% say political. That's up from 16% from 2 years ago. Professional character or ability, that's 30%, up from 28% 2 years ago. Sexual harassment is down. It's 27% compared to 44% 2 years ago. Racial harassment is up 26% compared to 23% 2 years ago. Classist, I guess that's, according to class, 16% are reporting that. Religious harassment is down. It's 15% compared to 18% 2 years ago. Homophobic harassment down 7% from 14% 2 years ago, and that's it. So there you go. We'll include this graphic on the in the show notes too.
Well, that's That's an interesting graphic. That really is. So that brings us to the end of episode 153 of the Beyond Social Media show. And we'll have links to everything we covered in the show. And we will also have the video on our blog post so that when you go to look at a particular segment that we discussed, the video will start to play at that segment along with that post, so that you can go directly to those things that was interesting to you. You will find that at beyondsocialmediashow.com, and you will find Dave Erickson online. He's D Erickson on Twitter. He blogs at eStrategyBlog.com and CreativePR.com/blog, both of which are really informative and which you should be reading. I'm BL Achman on Twitter. I am at What's Next. My blog is what'snextblog.com. I write Paw Fun, a blog for pet lovers, and I run maximum-plus.com for all things live streaming. The show is online at beyondsocialmediashow.com. Of course, we're on YouTube. We're on Twitter as BS Media Show. And we also are on Facebook. And we pretty much try to be everywhere. With the best and the worst in digital for next week. Meanwhile, thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.